Welcome to Kandi Unfiltered, where real life meets bold faith, purpose blooms from pain, and stories are sown with hope. I am your host, Candy Cox, and today we have a truly special guest who embodies the heart of purpose driven creativity. She's a woman with a mission, a storyteller with a soul, and a seed planter in the hearts of children and communities. Kawai Mullen, did I say that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, good, y'all. Kawai is the founder of the Sprouting Author, the creator of Little Sprouts book series. From inspiring kids through her whimsical tales to giving back through every project, Kawai works proven when you root your gifts in faith, God grows it beyond what you could ever imagine. Whether you're a writer, a teacher, or a mama, or you're just someone waiting on your special sprout, this episode will water your spirit. So grab your coffee, cozy up, and let's dive into the beautiful story of faith, books, and bold beginning.
This episode is brought to you by Pretties and Grace, a faith-based boutique offering high-quality home decor and gifts at prices for every budget. From stunning vases and greenery to statement seasonal pieces for every holiday, plus the sweetest gifts, they truly have it all. Pretties and Grace has 3 locations, their main store in the heart of downtown Benton, along with shops in Malvern and Fayetteville. You can also browse and shop online at prettiesandgrace.com. A huge thank you to Pretties and Grace for sponsoring this episode.
Welcome, Kawai.
Aloha, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming today.
It's a pleasure and thank you for having me.
I am so glad we finally got to connect. We have a mutual friend.
Yes, we do.
And Missy Bosch, who has been on my podcast, both this one and my other podcast, Arkansas First. She and I both are contributors for Arkansas First News. And so I'm so glad that she introduced us together.
I love it. I love those connections.
And so let me just start by I loved reading some of your story, and I want to start about how the seed of story planting was planted in your heart as a child. And are you from Hawaii?
I am.
Okay. So when I think of someone from Hawaii, I think of storytelling.
We are good storytellers.
Yes, yes, I just do, and so it just connects so well for me. So tell me about that. How did that start at such a young age for you?
Well, Candy, that is a very good question. My family is a very large family. I am the oldest of 12 from a blended family.
Okay.
My mom was also an educator. And at a very young age, I realized that I was struggling a lot at school, struggling with a lot of reading and comprehension, and then even with writing, making those connections. So at a young age, whenever I was, just had some spare time, I would start writing some short stories. And that was kind of what was helping to, in the background, build my confidence with reading and writing.
You and I actually had something very much in common with what you just said. I struggled with that same thing. And when I was in sixth grade, I had, her name was Miss Cowens. So, when a teacher makes an impact in your life, when you're as old as I am and you can remember her name, right? But Miss Cowens really took time with me. And sh I have quite the imagination, I still do. I mean, let's be real. It's so but she really fostered that in me, and I wrote a short story or a play, as you would say, and that started in me to help because I had problems with the reading and the comprehension, and can we say dyslexia? I mean, it's just a real thing, guys, and so I'm so thankful to her that she really set me on the path of taking what was in my imagination and using it to be able to verbalize and to write. And so you were solving the dangers, right? Like, yeah,
Like different seeds that have planted in different people in different seasons of our life.
That is so amazing. And so you had you started as an educator, right?
Yes.
And so tell me how you went from educator to author.
Well, I always had that passion for writing. And of course, as an educator, I'm surrounded by kids all the time, not to mention growing up in a very large family.
Yeah. So you had your parents had 12? Is that
Yeah,
which was
I'm
sound
from a blended family of 12 keikis, kids.
okay.
Yes. And so that was a lot of sharing food, clothing, and all of the above. Space, yes, was very limited around with us.
Right, right. I have 7 kids, and, so they can watch this podcast and be thankful that there wasn't more.
Yes. That's amazing. I did not know that.
I did. I do. 7 kids. Mhm.
Wow, I feel like there's a lot of things that are common.
I
I
know.
love it.
Okay, so anyways, you were an educator and you worked with kids. I know you and I talked just a little bit before we started. You were with the younger crew, the younger children, and then you went up to college age.
I taught that level, and right away I knew that my gifting wasn't there.
Right.
Went right back down to the littles and then stayed there for several years.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where a lot of the sprouting started to happen with my writing.
Yeah.
And I will tell you though, we moved from Hawaii to Massachusetts, from Massachusetts to Florida, and Florida for about 18 years.
Uh-huh.
When we moved here to Arkansas, that's really where everything started to bloom for me. And I was kind of in a deciding place. What path was I going to go after moving here? Did I want to go back into the classroom? And what did I want to do? And God started placing my books on my heart. And that's when I was like, okay, a little nervousness, a lot of fear.
Yeah.
And I just started writing. And when that first book was completed, I still held back on putting it out there because of all those fears. And then I prayed about it. And God just kept saying, what are you waiting for? Like, put it out there.
And so you're inspiring me already. I have my blog, Kandi Unfiltered, and so I do some little, writings of inspiration. But I have a book, and I have journaled some that I want to be in that book, and it's all about my daughter, and, anyways, I even have a title and all that, but, it's like one of those things you kind of get stuck on, stuck in your head, and it's going from God has given me a vision of this, and now, I need to get outside of myself and trust Him in that and just do it. Because when people hear about our story with my daughter, they're like, "You need to write a book." I'm like, "Yeah, it's there. Just is it there? And it's all there and there." Absolutely. And so you're in Arkansas now. Your husband is military or retired military.
So he was previous military, previous police officer in Hawaii, and then jumped to a whole different career and got into the tech world.
Oh,
Yeah. So he's on the side. He's my Uber. He helps put everything to set up if I need it. And he also is my tech guy.
okay.
Don't tell him I said that though.
I could have used a tech guy today. Right, that's for sure. That's for sure. So you launched the Sprouting Author and you started finding your purpose in publishing.
Yes.
I love the name.
I
And looking at your books and your covers and everything, they're precious. I love that name. I really do.
I appreciate that. So, a lot of the inspiration, although the seed was planted a long time ago, a lot of the inspiration is from my grandchildren. So, we currently have 4 grandchildren. We have another grandchild on the way. So, there's our grandson that's 3. He is the inspiration to my first books. He is Scout the Little Sprouts,
Okay, okay.
which I always make a joke that I think at 16 he's not gonna want me to tell everybody that he's Scout the Little Sprouts.
No, probably not. That's okay. So I'll take it from now. We can say we knew him when.
Right. And then my other granddaughter arrived, and her name is Nikini, and Papa calls her Strawberry Shortcake. So that's where the next series sprouted with the little fairy.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, I love that.
Thank you. I'm most excited, Katie, about the next series. It's in the works.
Uh-huh.
We have my other granddaughter, who's the youngest right at this moment, because we have one coming in September, October. Her name is Thea, and all of Thea's titles will be Thea the Thoughtful Turnip, and it'll be faith-based books for kids.
Oh.
So it'll be like Turn Your Heart to Jesus, because she's a turnip.
Yeah. But like turn your frown upside down. This like that. I love how you're taking, something so personable to you, right? Your grandchildren, and you're taking them and you're creating stories that align with them, their personalities. And I can just imagine because when with the reading, and reading is the special key to take you where you want to be, right?
Yes.
And so I can just imagine you incorporating those personalities into your books. Yes, it's a new little automated. Yeah. I was like, come on over, friends. This is awesome. I love how you're doing that. So each series really is an inspiration from your grandchildren.
Yes, absolutely. And each book, I try to dedicate it to someone, whether it's a family member or maybe someone along the way through the journey of my author journey,
Right.
and really making it purposeful and intentional about when I'm writing these books.
Right. Right. I absolutely love that. So that is just awesome. One of your books is called Little Zoey's Adventure. So tell me about that. I loved reading the blurb on that. Such a sweet inspiration there.
Oh my goodness. If that is not probably one of the sweetest stories
Right.
and such a God thing, I will tell you, because as I had just been going through this journey with a lot of fears of putting books out, and then God just showing me just little winks of his purpose of just keeping moving forward.
Right.
And I connected with this family when I heard of their story of Zoe. And what it is Zoe and her little brother were adopted through the call to a family in Cabot.
Yes.
And later they had found out that Zoe had actually had brain cancer. So they were totally unaware, of course, when they adopted
Right.
the little girl.
Right.
So this little girl at 4 years old went through 33 treatments. And it's interesting because when I share the story about the book and I tell them it's a community give back book, and I will show Zoe's picture in the back of the book, and I'm telling sharing with friends the story, and everyone's like, "Oh, like, we don't even wanna hear the rest of it because it sounds like it's gonna be a sad ending." And I said, "No, it's a thriving ending." Because Zoe is doing great. She's in preschool. She is thriving. Every appointment that she goes to, mom will share it and say that it's coming up clear. So Zoe's story continues.
Instant inspiration. That's so much like what my daughter, and I don't even know if you know this about me, but I have an adoption agency. That's my day job. It's my day job is I am the owner of Alba Adoption Agency here in Arkansas. Oh my goodness, all these little connections, Kid Eagle. We're going to be best friends by the end of this podcast. All these dog connections, I love it. So I do domestic infant adoption. So I work with women that are in crisis pregnancies that are wanting to make a plan of adoption for their babies, and so And I also have all the charities, which is our ministry hand, and that's where we work with women, no matter if they're wanting to place or if they're wanting to parent their child, but we help with them. Like if they want to parent, we want them to be the best parent that they can be, right?
Absolutely.
We want to help them where they are set up and have the tools
Yes.
for success so that their kids don't end up in the state custody, right? And so
You sound like a teacher when you say all those things.
at setting them up what the tools. I do, I probably do take that role on when I'm with my girls, that I'm helping and all, but I probably do take that teacher authoritative role on that. But my heart is I really want them to be able to make a good life decision, for their child, right? And, for each mama that I work with, it looks so different, right? What doesn't that look like? And so you're talking about, Zoe with my daughter E. Marie is adopted, and, she has a very rare skin disorder, and, it's something that she'll never it will never go away, she'll never be in remission, and, anyway, so it when you talk and because you were talking about Zoe and how people think it's such a sad ending, right? And people think that about my Anne Marie. And she has overcome what the doctors ever said that she would.
Right.
We're thankful for every single day that the Lord gives us with her, right? We are so thankful for every single day because she has overcome everything that the doctor said that she would not be able to. Well,
And that's a good thing.
that is, I always say that doctors are, I mean, they are so smart, and God gives them so much knowledge, but they are not God. And, God has written her story out.
Yeah.
And, so when I talk to people, they'll say, "How's Aunt Marie?" Well, in our world, she's doing great. Oh, is she getting better? No. But she's great. She's thriving. She's doing, what Emery does,
And that's her story.
and that's her story. Yeah, absolutely. And so I just love that. I love that you've taken Zoe's story and there's a continuation.
Yeah. So that her story continues.
Yes, I love that. Oh my,
Sharing her story.
yes. And I imagine that her family just feels so blessed in how you have honored their daughter and her story.
I feel like it's a blessing to me, when everyone's talking about thanking me for sharing her story. I was like, it's Zoe's story. Like, I thank Zoe for like having the opportunity to connect with the family. Yeah. And there was one the author event that we did, and Zoe would stamp her book whenever someone purchased the book.
Right.
And now the wonderful thing about Zoe's book to let her story continue is it's a community give back book.
Right. Now, did you bring that book with you?
So I did not, but the reason I did not bring that book is because I've sold out of the book. I know I have sold out of Zoe's story. One of the reasons why is because for the month of July, it's my community give back, where if they were to buy Zoe's book or my other journal mission book,
Right.
those are my two books that give back to the community, that I donate a book back. And whoever buys the book gets to choose the book. So, of course, everyone wants Zoe's story to be shared. So then they buy a book. They're like, we want Zoe's story to go to the next child.
Yeah.
So I know that was the one book I did not have.
Yeah.
But in a way, I'm thankful.
Amen.
Yeah, it's nice. I was like, I got to order more copies to get her story out.
Absolutely. So will you be ordering more copies?
Yes, Nina.
Yes. So and we're going to tell you how to connect and where you can go in and see all of her books and her titles and be able to order that. And Zoe's book is on there.
Yes.
And it's just I just love that. I just love it. And you also have another section is your journal with a purpose.
Yes.
So I just one of the things with the mamas that I work with, specifically moms that are making an adoption plan, is I'm huge about journaling. And every single mom that I work with gets a journal, every one of them. And I always get the faith-based journals. Now, I have already started working on making my own journal because it's like I can't find anything like that. Like I find good things, right, that are faith based, but then there's some things just from the years of experience that I have that I want to bring
Into your own journal.
yeah,
Specifically.
right, for the women that I work with. But I give every one of them a journal, and I share with them the importance of journaling their story.
Absolutely.
Because, and this is true for every area of anyone in what you're going through in life and really being able to see how the Lord works, that happens, how his promises have been yet of your life and all of that. But
Buzz not too.
each but those moms, I tell them, when you're going through that, you start with, finding out that you're pregnant and the things that how you felt and the thoughts and the conversations that you have. And then as you're going through that process and you pick a family and how you felt and why did you pick that family and then meeting that family. And then, as you're going through that, through the end, when you hit hard days, you can go back.
Yes.
You can go back and see the faithfulness of the Lord and the journey that he's taken you on. And you can find where truth is in that, right? Because when we're journaling,
We're little, right? We're letting out all those raw emotions.
right, yes. And so years ago, one of my sweet favorite mamas. All of the mamas are my favorite fan, but this one, she truly does have a special place in my heart. I, of course, she was young and I was talking to her and of course talking about the journaling. She goes, "Well, I already journal." I was like, "Oh, you are," because she was a teenager at the time. And I thought, "Oh, that's awesome." And knowing her now as a woman,
Yeah.
that's I think she's like in her 30s now. I love that. 30s, yeah. We've had a long journey together. But knowing who she is now, it makes perfect sense to me that she was journaling back then and knowing her family, her parents. And anyways, but she shared her journal with me and it was so cool because it her journal went back to even um way before it way before she got pregnant. Oh, and so it was a journal that was, young love and then, you know, my parents know nothing and, just that whole
All you
just that your teenage real emotions, and then about, she journaled about the her first date with the guy who ended up, being the birth father to the baby. And then I got to see what she journaled about me when I came to the house to meet her to have her story, part of her story. And so she continued that journal, and I cried. I was like, "This is so priceless." Because what she did, she took that journal when it was all done, and she gave it to the baby. Oh my goodness! And I told him, I said, "I mean, it is priceless with her trusting her baby boy to you, but this." Yeah,
your emotions.
all of her emotions and
All the seasons.
yes,
It's our always been down.
and she gifted that to them, and I told them, I'm like, "This is gold."
Yeah.
This is such a peek into her life that sitting down and having a conversation you'll never get. You just can't.
Yeah.
And, so anyways, journaling is something that I believe I'm so passionate about, and especially with my mom. So tell me about your journal.
So, just a little like story behind what you were saying about journaling. So my mom, what she also was a journaler. She just loved journaling. And my sisters and I will sometimes go back to things that she has written in books that we now have. So my mom passed when I was 21, and my siblings are all younger than me.
Right.
So I have one of my younger sisters. She still has one of my mom's journals, and we'll go back and read some of just things that my mom was going through.
Right.
And so now, whenever I give a journal to my daughters, I always try to write a little something in there that's, even if they forget about the journal, that maybe one day they go back and they look in the book
Yes.
and they have a little piece of me sharing something
Yeah.
in a journal that I gave them.
Right.
Well, so a segue to the journal that I created, it was for a friend that was going on a mission trip, and she was looking for a way to do some fundraising. Now, I will tell you that she never once asked anything from me.
Right.
She just started telling me that she was going to be going on this mission trip and she was going to be doing some fundraising. So we were doing a few things here and there, and then God just put it on my heart. You know, you're a writer, right? You know, you can create a book for her and she can use it towards funding her trip.
Yes.
So that's how that journal bloomed.
Yes.
Was another purpose. Like, I had a purpose to do something. And God was like, okay, we're doing this and you have a purpose and giving back. So she went on her mission trip. We were able to give her some money towards her mission trip. And now, so she went and came back, and now that journal is part of my community Give Back books. So we find something in the community that we can give back when our that book is purchased.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that. So our sponsor I was telling you is Pretties and Grace, which is where I get all of my setup stuff. And once a month, Terry, who owns Pretties and Grace, she comes on and we do Kandi Unfiltered in the Grace space. And she just started carrying, which I thought, oh, I wish that they had these when, I was started out with being a mom.
Yes.
But it's a journal book that it's letter writing for every year your child's birthday.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, she goes, instead of a baby book. And I'm like, no, I mean, I think baby books are great, but this is like just such a gift. Like, you write a letter to your child and then, something that you would get them when they turn 18 either. Isn't that sweet?
That is the so one. Those are priceless thoughts from your mom.
Right.
Or whoever is
Right.
filling that journal out.
Yeah.
Because it's intentional.
Right.
Go ahead. They're intentional about writing in there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these canvas bags, which I think are great for books to go, oh, who knows what canvas. So my daughter did this. And so Terry at Pretty's at my daughter is her social media marketer manager. And so anyway, she's ultra talented when it comes to like chalk, all the writing, right? Like she has that real pretty Criollo writing.
I have a daughter that's the same way. Yes.
And
For writing.
And she does all these chalkboards and, people pay her to do that. And I'm like,
That's interesting because my writing is terrible. Oh, so that's a gift to have beautiful writing.
I'm like, I don't know where she got that, but it was not me or her dad. Both of us could be doctors.
And a good writing.
But anyway, so I brought this because I thought of you when we were putting stuff together, because this is such a great little tote bag for books, and everybody needs a book bag.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's you can actually
Or designs cured. You can never go wrong with having two bags.
no, no, you would not want to see the top of my closet. But she can actually customize these. So I was thinking, we were talking about it earlier. Where you go? I know. I think you need some bags for the sprouting author. Yeah, it's fine. We were talking about Terry is wanting one that says Honey's church bag, and I'm like, I mean, I need a bag, Madison, and you have a mom.
You're eating a bag that says I need more bags.
So that's awesome. But yeah, journaling is something that I love doing, and I've loved looking at that you have that as well. And I think that uh so much of taking when you journal and you see what God's doing in your life and how He's brought you through things, the overflow of that because writing, blogging, right? I know you're a writer, you self-publish, and I have a Substack. So, where you can find my inspirational writings at, but and my podcast, by the way. But you take that, and it journaling is an inspiration for those stories to come to life. Yeah. For those blogs to come to life, right? To help other people. Yes. And that's what writing is all about, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It is really about inspiring others. And when it comes from a place of um, inspiration and encouragement, I mean, those are such great things to put into your life. And I love you said that your next one's going to be faith based.
Ooh, that's really been a journey of like thinking about what will be the next piece of my writing.
Yeah.
And so thus far, I have 13 books that I've written and self published.
Right.
All of them, except for one, which is the journal, Raha Mission Journal, are based on like children's books.
Yes.
So that when anyone asks, like, well, what kind of an author are you? I said, well, if you have to put a title, I am a children's book author because a lot of my writings are about learning, whether it's color, shapes, a lot of early education literacy is kind of what I advocate for.
Right. Right.
But our journey, I feel like the journey is never just closed to one path.
Right.
It's when you meet people and if there's a story to tell, then if there's a way to do that, then I absolutely want to do that.
Yeah. 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 Where's the handbook? That's right. And so, and I love that about you. I love it. I have a another friend. She actually is an adopted mom, and she's an author as well. And she her writings. One of her books that I read really dealt with what mental illness, and which is not her what she typically writes in, but just kind of outlining her story and her struggles in life. And it just so connected with me. And I just love that. I love going to a place where I can feel connected to the story behind it. And anyways, that is amazing. And I love that you give back to your community.
I like to say that I feel like I'm just a little itty bitty author
Uh-huh.
amongst a lot of other small businesses and a lot of other bigger authors. But God always brings me back to the purpose.
Yes.
No matter how small as a mustard seed,
Yeah.
that you can grow and sprout and bloom beautiful things that will lead to sharing God's love and his word. And so that I have to keep just kind of instilling in myself to know that, hey, I'm writing it, but it's God's gift that's giving me the writing abilities. It's God's gift that's giving me the stories to share.
Right.
And so that when I'm sharing my books, that's the purpose behind the books. Is like the real reason behind the books.
Right. Right. I love to share that. Legit. Of all of your books,
Yes.
what would you say is the one that for you has been the most inspirational?
It's funny that you would ask that because someone just asked that same question. And I always say it's my very first book.
Yeah.
It's the book that I will never change. It'll stay what it is because it's like journaling. You go back and you see the beginning of your story.
Yeah.
And it's the beginning of something. And I can look for, I fast forward to books that I've written, but that'll be the book that planted the seed, the starting of my journey that God continues to bloom. Yeah. And I won't ever change anything about that book. It's all the mistakes I made,
Right.
all the fears that I had,
Yeah.
and everything else moving forward. Yes, the things that God continues to plant and sprout and bloom.
Yeah.
Yes. So my very first book, it'll always be
It's the launching pad
yes.
for everything
It's the
else.
first step.
Yeah.
And it was like a step out, step back, step out, step back.
It's where you override your fear.
I finally got just to take the leap. What are you waiting for? And from that time on, I just prayed for every single book after that and every single connection after that. And sometimes I feel like it's a reach for me, but when I do reach for things, like reaching out to you,
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, God, if it is meant to be,
Absolutely.
you will make the connection happen.
Yeah.
Even though I want that to be, but I still have to trust him in all of that.
In all. That's for
And even in all our busyness, like somehow we're gonna make it. We're gonna get it there.
yeah.
If God is the purpose and the reason and the center of it, it'll happen.
You know, in my previous podcast with Kandi Unfiltered in the Grace Space, I tell you, Terry, she Pretties and Grace is our sponsor, and my daughter Madison works for her, and Madison actually joined us on that podcast, and one of the things that we talked about in that podcast was if you approach every day and ask the Lord to use you in someone's life to make an impact, to show grace, to make his name known. Yes, he will give you those opportunities because that's what it's all about, right? And everything that we do, every step that we take, every meeting that we have, it is really about him.
Yes.
And how he can use us. And so if it's, you know, at your place of work where you work in retail, as you can make a difference. You can make an impact in someone's life. I went to the bank yesterday, go through the drive-through. The tellers, they're the same. And one of my favorite tellers, he goes, "How are you today?" And I said, "I'm hot. How are you?" And he's like, "I'm having a bad day." And I was like, "Oh, do you need therapy?" And he goes, "You got time?" And so I just turned my seatbelt off and I said, "Well, I might well say, well, let's relax and take a minute here. There's a right here in the dresser. I don't care, And then we started laughing and poking fun. And then as I was leaving, I said, I'm just going to pray that your day gets better. And it's like 11:30, and I said, and because we've got a long ways to go in the day, right? We can't have a bad day. And so I I didn't have to take it to that point where of course I'm not gonna sit in the drive-through, right? That but it is that letting people know that you see them.
Yes.
Which actually I wrote about that yesterday, about letting people know that you see them. It's on it says, you know, "Do you see them?" Is the name of it, and it's on my Substack, and it took me back to a story 5 years ago yesterday
Wow.
where um, I I had been working with a mom, and, a lot of the moms that I work with are, they, have issues with addiction and on the streets and all of that, and this particular one, I had been working with her, and she was homeless when I, started working with her, which is not an abnormal, and she just she that's the only life truly that she knew, and so
It's for normal.
that was phenomenal, and so I took her off the streets and, I got her clothes and made sure she had food and and shelter and all of these things, but that was uncomfortable for her.
No.
And she just she boleh she boleh because the drugs and the street life, that was her normal, and outside of that was uncomfortable for her, and so it broke my heart, right? It broke my heart. Well, one of my friends actually works in downtown Little Rock and had spotted her and had told me, and I'm like, okay. So I go to downtown Little Rock seeking out to find her. Now, again, it was yesterday. It was hot. 5 years ago, it was hot. And I'm driving all through downtown Little Rock and in the alleyways, and I don't see her, but I see, which I do know this. I'm out there every day, and I know that people are on the streets. Homeless people are on the streets. Sit at the church houses, like on the steps and everything, because they are waiting for the church to give out food and things. And I'm driving around, and I was just so overwhelmed with the amount of homelessness on the streets of downtown Little Rock. I drove to the gas station and I got cases of water, and I bought all of the peanut butter crackers out there, and I had a tote bag in my car, not this one, but I had a tote bag in my car, and I filled it up and I got out and I just started talking and handing bottles of water and crackers can open a conversation. I'm just saying. And
Yes.
it can. And just when you give people just an opportunity to talk and share, they will tell you a lot. Yes, absolutely. And I heard so many stories that day, and I was able to pray with so many people that day. I went live afterwards, and I was sitting in my car, was watching it. How Facebook, it pops up on your feed, your memories, and I was watching it, and I went back to all of the emotions that I had that day. Like, I was, uh, so overwhelmed and upset that I couldn't find her. But he gave me another purpose there, which is so much of what our ministry is about, anyways, and, meeting people right where they are. But what he gave me that day is, do you see them? Like, or when we pass people, like, I pass these people every day, right?
It's so interesting because that almost becomes your norm
Yeah,
because you see them every day.
exactly, exactly, and so I shared it yesterday, and then I wrote about it on my Substack and do you seek them? Are we taking the time out where the Word calls us to see people and to meet their needs right where they are? Yeah, so you have this is just the beginning for you, I know. So what are your upcoming dreams and, you know, still saying yes to what God has for you
Oh
next?
my goodness. I definitely am leaving the door open for opportunities whenever God presents it.
Yeah,
And I say, I will go. I will step out and go through that door.
yeah,
The adventures ahead are me to continue writing more books, of course.
right.
I have a lot of books that are stirring and that are in the making. And it's interesting because as I go through this journey and meet more people, they're like, hey, you should write a book about this or you should write a book about that. And so I'll make a note. And so then I start it with like a little cover, like, okay, that's my little note with a little cover that someday I'll get back to that book and write that story. And I'm working on some digital aspects
Yeah,
and making my stories more digital to a wider audience
yeah,
for the littles.
yeah,
So that's also a part of the work in progress. I am trying to take a lot more opportunities like this, reaching out and speaking out my story.
yeah,
So whether that is presenting at an education conference, whether it's someone opening up their platform to give me the opportunity to share, I'm going to use that opportunity to just share my story. And if there's another story to share,
yeah,
and just as we're talking,
right.
like all these stories that are just
God stirs.
right,
Yeah,
all these little God winks of God just keeps reminding us about things that we can talk about, that we can share about, and putting action to our words.
yes,
I said, yeah, we can write all day
yeah,
and I can self publish all day. But if I don't put his actions
Right.
behind the book, then that's all it'll ever be is a book that's been published that'll sit on a counter.
Yeah.
And I really want it to be more than just that.
Yeah. I feel that with you. Yes, absolutely. I want you to tell our listeners how they can connect with you and share in your mission.
Yeah. So with that, I do have an author page. And if you follow me on Facebook, I do mostly Facebook. I'm still trying to stretch out my path as the younger ones do into Instagram and TikTok. I've not dove into that. That scares me a little. Uh,
That gives my daughter does social media marketing. And just like, Mom, you gotta get on TikTok. And I'm like, ugh.
that's right. I deal the same way, and I don't know if it's just an age thing. Could be.
It took me forever to get on Facebook, but with my business, I have to do it because that's where I reach the younger
That's what
people.
everyone keeps on saying, that you have to be out there.
So have to be out there and
So I try my best to have some content out there.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I'm leaning on God.
absolutely.
I said, okay, Lord, you know that I am not the best at social media, but He also tells me that I don't necessarily need you to take that path.
Yeah,
The people that I need to be in front of you, I will place in front of you.
right.
And sometimes I want to rush into things because I just want to be busy and keep moving forward. But at the same time, on the way here, when I was just praying about our conversation and just asking the Lord for His words for today, and He was really saying to me, there's sometimes you just be still.
Yeah.
And in the moments of your pause and be still
Mhm.
is when I will bring the next purpose.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So follow me on Facebook.
Yes. And it'll see it there's Sprouting Author.
On the Sprouting Author
Uh-huh.
Facebook.
Yeah. And you have a link on your about.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, on Facebook and the Sprouting Author, you can find her Facebook there. There's a link to her page where you can go and see her books and her journal and all the little tabs. If you hit the little thing on the side with her upcoming book, yes, it's not there yet, but they're there.
There. They're there and they're here.
That's right. Yes, that's right.
But it's all in the making. Yeah.
And what a great thing for our listeners to take part of, where you can go and connect and get these books up, such sweet books, and they're beautifully done.
Thank you.
Beautifully done, and they're short books. We have some right up here. Why don't you hold that book up?
Yes.
They're short books, great for little kiddos, and you can take these and know that not only are you helping children, it is so important for them to be read to. So important in life for them to be read to.
Yeah.
And so you're reading good, wholesome books, right? Good, wholesome books. You don't have to be afraid of what you're putting in front of your little ones with this. And you're also pouring into a community where you're giving back. And so you can feel really good about that purchase. You're helping a small author. Yes, you're helping children. You're pouring into children's life. If you have young children in your life, highly recommend you starting a collection from the Sprouting Author. And then you're also poured into the community as well.
Yes. I definitely try.
Yeah.
Try to have at least 3 focuses through the year that I'm able to give back something to the community in some shape, way, or form.
Yeah.
One of the opportunities last year through the journal was that my daughter and I worked for Jacksonville Lighthouse Charter School,
Yeah.
and my daughter still is going to be working there. They have a care store for their families.
Yeah.
Again, that's another area that serves some lower income families.
Right.
and having the opportunity to help fill their care store with some diapers and things that we take for granted.
Yes.
Just toothpaste and simple things like soap. I was able to, through the Sprouting author, we were able to donate some things to their care store so parents could go in, they shop for free. It doesn't cost them. They just go and approach and say if they need something, and then they can go ahead and shop, or the school will give it directly what they need.
That's nice. See, that's amazing. I would love for you to just give a word of encouragement, thinking back through the things that we've talked about today to someone who's like, I have a story to tell. How do I do that? How do they get over that fear, that launching pad? Can you speak to them and give them a word of encouragement from your heart?
Absolutely. So as I'm going through this author to read, I meet a lot of people now that I call my friends that everyone has a story. It's interesting enough when you give someone some time to be seen and to share, to have a story. And I always make it a little joke and say, hey, that could be a book. And it sparks something with them to know that their story matters. And if they have it in their heart to share their story, to have a little courage to let that seed be planted and bloom. There's always going to be fears and things that we do, no matter what season we are. We could be in our highest season sometimes. That's right. But there's still fear, so discouragement and feel fear of failure and things.
Yes.
But the mindset, you spoke a little bit about this. When you have the mindset that it's not about us, it's not about things, that it's when we're knowing that it's about God and His purpose
Yes.
and what He wants to flourish, that really changes the mindset of what you do.
Right.
I-
Right. It does. And women, so many women that I come across are so discouraged. They feel so overwhelmed. And so I want to speak to you and say, you may feel like you're buried.
Yes.
I mean, we've all been there. We go through those seasons where we feel like we're buried. And I just think you're not buried, but we think of getting and you're anyone who knows that God can't grow a thing. And I feel so I'm so thankful I kept my kids alive. I'm not a beat those. I do not have a great bud. My friends laugh at me. I can't grow anything. But I do know that you have to have good soil.
Yeah.
That's right. And when you have good soil, our good soil is Jesus. Our good soul is His word. And so when you feel like you're just covered and you're just buried in the dirt, just know He is just let Him lay that good soil over you so that you can sprout up, right? So you can sprout up to take on what He's called you to do. Just know when you've got the good soil,
Yes. Yes.
the Word of God, He'll lead you, right? He will lead you and He'll take you out of that. And what feels like the dirt in the beginning, what feels overwhelming in the beginning, sprouts up something so beautiful and precious. And I think about beautiful flowers.
I think so. You don't know because we don't always see that seed germinating and growing and sprouting.
Yes,
Yeah. As that it pushes and pushes and pushes.
yes. I think about, when you were in elementary school and how, in early elementary school, how you have the cup and sometimes you get an egg and you put the dirt in it and then you put the seed in it and then the teachers put it in the window. And, little kids that go in every day. Right. They was watching and observing. And everybody, nothing, nothing, nothing. And then they come in and it's the laser. Yes. And they're so excited. Right. So that
And surprise.
yes.
surprised, like, where did that come from?
Aren't we that lame though? Right? It's like, well, are you ever going to hear me, Lord?
Yes. Am I ever gonna sprout, Lord?
Yeah.
But it's so interesting that you're
And give us a promise when he answers,
right. But it's so interesting that you bring that analogy because, that's part of my process. And then when I'm thinking about when it starts pushing up,
Yeah.
through all that dirt,
Yes.
and everything that it has to go through. Sometimes there's layers and layers of dirt that it's pushing up through. And what does the sprout do? It's reaching up to the sun
Yes, it is. Where there is energy and food and it fuels, sun fuels the body.
and he is our son.
Yeah.
We just think about that. He is our
Yes.
son.
Say reaching up to him. Amen. And we need to be reaching up to him, right? I just want to encourage you to, I hope you've been encouraged today to take those things, your stories, because everyone has one. Start journaling if you don't journal, but and allow God to speak to you through those things. And if you feel like it's something that you need to start writing, it's something as simple as journaling could take you to blocking. And people, you think I mean, no one's gonna read my stuff but me. Well, I may be the only one reading this for my mom, my mom.
She would buy every book, and I was like, Mom, you don't have to buy every book. This is my mother-in-law. Yeah, my mom's passed.
Yeah.
She's like, no, I want to buy every book and I want to share it. And
Yeah.
that's what someone said at a conference. So you may be the only person that ever reads your book, or your mom might be the only person that ever buys your book.
Yeah.
And so what? You set out a goal. You had it in your heart. You set out a goal. You put it out there.
Yeah.
And that's what matters.
Yes. Yes. Oh. Wow. What a precious time with Kawai.
Yes.
I'm I'm big on getting people's names right. And so I hope that I'm doing good at this, okay? Thank you for joining us today at Kandi Unfiltered. What a joy it has been to sit here and talk about the incredible gifted Kawai. If her story has inspired you, or you want to know more about her books, if you want to know how you can help her in her journey to give back to the community, please go visit her Facebook, which is the Sprouting Author, right? The Sprouting Author. And she has a link there that will take you to her page up in her About section. We'll also be linking that here in the notes section of the podcast. So make sure that you go follow her Facebook page, go check out her books, and then go support her. Also, I can't do this without your support. And so, you know what? If you like the content that we put out, I ask you to follow, I ask you to share, and I ask you to support me. Everything goes to ABBA Charities, which helps us do the work that we do in helping women. Thank you for joining us on Kandi Unfiltered today. Until next time, be blessed, stay unfiltered, and go forward and be planted where God has you at.
This episode is brought to you by Pretties and Grace, a faith-based boutique offering high-quality home decor and gifts at prices for every budget. From stunning vases and greenery to statement seasonal pieces for every holiday, plus the sweetest gifts, they truly have it all. Pretties and Grace has 3 locations, their main store in the heart of downtown Benton, along with shops in Malvern and Fayetteville. You can also browse and shop online at prettiesandgrace.com. A huge thank you to Pretties and Grace for sponsoring this episode.